Cork and Kerry Mental Health and Wellbeing Fests are an amazing collaboration of services across the two counties, statutory and non-statutory, providing free events over a week-long period to everyone within the community. This fest is held every year to coincide with World Mental Health Day on the 10th of October, and it gives people the chance to get out, to meet new people, be that online or in person, and maybe even try a new hobby. All the events are free of charge and are available online. You can sign up, you can look at the brochure and get involved.
So I'm Catherine Morley and I'm Service Manager with Jigsaw Cork. So Jigsaw Cork is a youth mental health service. We work with young people from 12 to 25 and we provide a direct service. We work in communities and we work in schools. Well, it's always important to mind your mental health. But particularly at this time, young people may be feeling disconnected from their friends. There might be a loss of routine. They might have fears around catching or spreading the virus. So really at this time, it's crucial that we just, look after ourselves and think about our mental health. Stay connected. Physical distancing doesn't mean social distancing, so use every method you can to stay connected with your friends, your family, and your one good adult. Our second tip would be take some exercise, and that will be whatever exercise means to you. For some people it might be a couch to 5K, for someone else it might be walking the dog twice a day. And the third one is learn something, learn a new skill, try something new. You can do that over Zoom, you can do that over Teams, you can do that over all your other social media platforms, but trying something new and learning something new is really, really important for your mental health, and try to do that as often as you can.
My name is Geraldine O'Sullivan and I work as manager at Kerry Volunteer Centre. At Kerry Volunteer Centre we help people who would like to get involved in volunteering to do so. We give you information, support, advice so that your volunteering choice is right for you. And what I mean by that is that you get to decide where you volunteer, for how long. You can volunteer as little or as often as you'd like to do so. You can volunteer at home, online, or within your local community and voluntary group in either Cork or Kerry, because Kerry Volunteer Centre is one of 21 volunteer centres nationally. So whatever we do in Kerry for you, they can do the same in Cork to help you to volunteer in a way that you enjoy and that is meaningful and worthwhile for you. It is always important to mind our mental health, because our mental health impacts our feelings, our self-esteem, our relationships, our appetite, our sleep, every aspect of our lives. And in COVID-19, well, COVID has certainly challenged and changed the way we live our lives. It has changed the way we socialise, it has changed the way we connect, it has changed the way we interact. And with that, understandably, can bring uncertainty and certain amount of stress. So therefore, it's really important that whatever you do to mind your mental health, that you really do it, I suppose, to the best of your ability during COVID-19, so that you're feeling the best way about yourself and that your appetite, your relationships, your sleep patterns aren't being impinged upon in a negative way. I would recommend that the top 3 tips that you and I can do to, I suppose, enhance and better our mental health would be to do good and then feel good. And the easiest way to do that is to volunteer. You can either volunteer formally through your local volunteer centre. You can either go online to volunteerkerry.ie or volunteercork.ie and sign up to register to volunteer, and you're simply just registering to find out more information and get help or advice. Or you can just volunteer your smile. You can volunteer your time, you can volunteer to let someone out in front of you in the traffic. There's loads of different ways you can volunteer, but essentially what you're doing is you're doing good, and there is nothing as easy or as better as a quick fix to feel good than to do good. It works. If you haven't tried it, try it. The second thing I'd recommend you to do is get out, get active. Pick up a picnic, pack one, grab a bottle of water and get out to the beautiful coastlines in Cork and Kerry. Travel one of our trails, sit at one of our lake shores. North Cork, West Cork, East Kerry, South Kerry, every part of our counties are beautiful. Get out, get active, and if you don't feel like the energy to get active, just get out, sit down, embrace nature, breathe it in, feel the sand under your toes. It is good for you. I know it works, and I'm sure it'll work for you too. The third tip I would recommend that you do, and that I find that works, is practice gratitude. You know, at least every day find 4 or 5 simple things to be grateful for. Even if some days it's just the fact that your duvet is cozy and warm. Even if it just means that your cup of tea is just brings you that little bit of relief that you've been looking for. Whatever it is, practice gratitude. Hopefully for the people in your lives, hopefully for the fact that we can get out of bed in the morning, but whatever it is, practice gratitude. So do good, feel good. Get out, get active, enjoy our beautiful counties, and practice gratitude. Let's be grateful. It's very simple, it's really effective, and you will feel better, I promise you that.
My name is Donagh Hennebury, and I'm one of 3 resource officers for suicide prevention that cover Cork Kerry Community Healthcare, and I cover the County of Kerry. I think it's always really important that we mind our mental health. It probably has become maybe that little bit more important over the last few months when maybe a sense of anxiety and stuff is rising, people maybe having a bit more trouble sleeping, and I think connecting has become a real problem. So I think it comes back that it's really important that we try and look after ourselves just that little bit more at the moment. I think it's really important that we give, that we do things for other people. Little things, it doesn't have to be anything huge, it can be as small as holding the door open for someone when you leave a room. Little things like that are really good for ourselves, and they make us feel happy, but they also make that other person feel happy. I also think it's really important that we try and be that little bit more active. And I think when people hear being active, they think of running marathons and so. I don't think it has to be that big. I think it can be something small. Things that we do every day. It could be, going for a walk, going for a swim. It could be farming. It could be gardening. Anything that gets your heart rate moving that little bit quicker than it normally does is really important. And then the third one, and the one I think is probably arguably the most important, and especially at the moment with everything that's going on, is connecting. And it's become even harder to connect over the past few months. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. So connecting in person has obviously become harder, but we've found new ways like the telephone and like video calls, and I think it's really important that we carry these connections on and that we make these connections in person when we can, but then when we can't, we find alternatives. And of course, there's that connecting to services. We have some fantastic services across Cork and Kerry. And if you need a service, if you feel that little bit more upset or angry or worried about something, reach out to that service and connect with them.
My name is Jonathan, and I'm the Voluntary Director of Cork Samaritans. The Samaritans provide an emotional support service for anyone, anytime. As we all know, the coronavirus has exacerbated everything for us. It's made life difficult for people because we're working from home, they're minding kids, they're looking after a sick relative, they may be suffering financial stress, and it's not easy, but we have to remember that during this time these feelings are normal, but it's more important than ever that we look after our own mental health. One of the first tips we recommend is talking about our feelings. Talking about our feelings is very important, especially during this time we find ourselves in. It helps keep us in good mental health. And if you don't have anyone to talk to, you're more than welcome to ring us anytime on free phone 116 123. Our second tip is keeping in contact with friends and family. We found that during this time that 1 in 3 of our callers are lonely. So it's more important than ever to stay in touch. And while we can't necessarily meet people, we can still phone, email, text, or even write a letter. And finally, one of the most important tips of all is taking a break for yourself and also taking a break from social media and news. As we all know, social media news are full of coronavirus updates, and that can dampen your humour. And it's important that we just distance ourselves and limit our contact to that. I myself, for example, deleted the Facebook app from my phone, and I found that my mood isn't dampened anymore because I was naturally reaching for my phone all the time looking at Facebook. And also taking time for yourself. It's really just gardening, reading a book, whatever you find is good for yourself. That's important.
So my name is Kira, and I work for the HSE, coordinating mental health responses for the traveller community. Travellers are a small Indigenous community in Ireland with their own ethnic identity, but whom also have a very high rate of suicide and level of frequent mental distress which exceeds that of the generic population. The work of this service is carried out in a collaborative way with the Traveller Health Unit, which is a unit of professionals from departments in the HSE and also representatives from the traveller organisations and initiatives across Cork and Kerry. And fundamentally the aim of the service is to build cultural competency within the health service to ensure more improved health outcomes for travellers. So I guess COVID-19 has brought with it many challenges on all of our mental health. For the traveller community, they have the additional stressor of being identified as a priority group within the pandemic, purely because of their instances of respiratory disease, rates of diabetes within the community, and also because they generally tend to live within large family groupings on halting sites, which can tend to be overcrowded and lacking in adequate sanitary provision. So it's really important to have an awareness of that, because what we don't want is a situation where mental health for the community gets even more pushed to the extreme and the brink. The 3 tips that I would be promoting in relation to mental health at the moment include 1, to remember that mental health doesn't discriminate, that we all have a mental health, whether we are a traveller, a settled person, a healthcare professional or a non-healthcare professional. Secondly, I would be saying, if you're not feeling yourself, if you're a little bit low, depressed, out of the ordinary, just make sure to talk to somebody or access one of the many services that exist in the community. There are lots of people out there that care and that want to listen. And thirdly, remember also about the people that you live with and people in your surroundings. Look out for them and look out for those that are most vulnerable. Be compassionate, be kind and considerate of other people, because these are some of the most important things in life that help us all through and that can really impact on our mental health and well-being.
Hello, my name is Martin Ryan. I'm the Suicide Prevention Resource Officer for Cork Kerry Community Healthcare. The service I provide is very much an overarching service, so I support communities, I support families, and I engage and support campaigns right across the whole city and county of Cork. It's really important to mind your mental health all the time. And significantly during this time, during a pandemic and through COVID, it's really important to mind your mental health because of the isolation, because of the anxiety, and sometimes because of the media we hear is very negative. So it's really important to make sure that you keep yourself connected, supported and well. Well, the first one I would say is get involved. During Mental Health Week Fest in Cork and Kerry, we have a huge amount of services coming together with huge amount of activities, whether it be online or connection. So it's really important to get involved on a local level. The second point that certainly would be to connect. It's really important to make a connection not only with your own family, but certainly people that you might not have heard from in a while. And that might very well be over the phone, it might be over Zoom, it might be over WhatsApp or otherwise. But to make a connection is really important. There's nothing more important in the idea of feeling connected to your community and feeling connected to your family. And the last point really would be very much around that if you are finding yourself in difficulty and if you are finding yourself isolated and elements of anxiety are coming into your life, is make a call. Pick up the phone, and there are people there trained, supported and waiting for you to pick up the phone. So therefore it's important to make the call when you feel you're ready.